What is happening, Magnusites? So, the reactions, the reviews are good. Is that what's going on here?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder. Marvel Studios seemingly did it with the Thunderbolts. The first social media reactions to the Thunderbolts have been shared online since they premiered the movie in the UK. And I will say, some of the reactions are very interesting. But overall, it looks like we won. We're back. Marvel Studios is back with another amazing...
Hey, it ain't back until the fans go see it. When the fans go see it, that's when we back. And when the fans go see it and we say it's good collectively, that's when we're starting on the road to be back. Because to be back, they have to be consistent. And they haven't been consistent. That's the problem. So...
that feels like Marvel Studios, but is at the same time very different and fresh, which I think is really what Marvel Studios needed right now. We have the first reactions, we'll go through them, and we'll talk about what this really means overall for the MCU.
Did you hear how deep her voice was in that clip I just did a reaction to? Has her voice always been that deep? I don't remember it being that deep in Black Widow. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just didn't notice it, but shit.
Moving forward, because I do think it's incredibly important. We'll start off with a buddy from the channels, Chris Parker at 3C Films. He states, Thunderbolts is a real breath of fresh air for the MCU. Absolutely love the team dynamic. It's also rich with emotions, tackling pretty serious self-worth issues. Yelena carries the movie. Best part, it's 95 standalone with 5% setup. But that 5% though, really felt like old MCU. And Chris is not the only one to specifically say that. We have a reaction from Wong Updates, and they state, Thunderbolts takes the Marvel Cinematic Universe into the world of independent cinema. It is unlike any product that came before. Florence Pugh gives a performance worthy of an Oscar. The MCU is finally back and better than ever. Stay till the end for something magnetic. So another great reaction slash review that says Marvel is back. That's always a great sign. And hopefully we continue to hear that with the Fantastic Four as well. But
here's the problem. We're in a year in particular, and a time span of several years in particular where nobody believes anybody's reviews when you got to see it early. Because you could possibly be shilling. Plus, with all the debacles on Red Tomatoes, on Rotten Tomatoes, and on Metacritic, and empty theaters, and all these fake bots on both sides, no one truly believes anyone these days until they go to see the movie, unless they're a trusted critic by the fans. Who the fans believe that they are not shills in any way, shape, or form. We take reviews with a grain of salt now. You remember when we used to hear reviews, before the woke times, when you would hear it, you'd be like, oh, okay, the critics aren't always right, of course, but okay, maybe, if it wasn't so much coverage and cope and running interference done in a time when people were truly rejecting a certain type of entertainment, I think people would be more apt to believe these reviews coming out. But right now I'm hearing these first two reviews and I'm just like, okay, I'll just have to say it. It's like I don't find myself believing or not believing. I'm just in the middle, okay, if you say so. All right, I'm going to have to see it for myself, though, anyway.
In the meantime, these Thunderbolt reviews are great. Big Gold Belt Media states, Thunderbolts is raw, hilarious, and deeply human. It's a bold dive into trauma, healing, and redemption. Proof that even the so-called defective losers and disposable delinquents can rise above their past and become the heroes no one expected. It's gritty, emotional, and unlike anything Marvel has done before. A must-see story that hits where it hurts and heals where it matters. One mid-credit scene and one post-credit
Okay.
scene. And a lot of people are talking about the post-credit scenes being really big, and that 5% setup that Chris mentioned, that most likely comes in the post-credit scene as well, and it sounds like these are pretty big. Or at least one of them's pretty big. We then have one from Culture Base who states, Thunderbolts has got to be one of the most unexpected MCU movies Marvel has ever done. Thunderbolts takes the MCU into the world of independent films. Movie is hilarious. Dives into trauma, bold, emotion, healing, redemption, and unlike anything Marvel has ever done before.
Okay.
Truly a piece of art. So
We'll
it's
see.
really, really interesting that people are saying this is something unlike anything Marvel has ever done before, but at the same time, it feels like old school Marvel. Based on what we're hearing, this actually seems like quite a deep...
It's kind of funny how they keep talking about it feeling like old school Marvel, like with Anthony Mackie talking about it's going to feel like old school Marvel. And they say, you know why? Because new school Marvel sucks. That's why. And we all know it. It's garbage and nobody likes it at all.
Deep movie. A lot of people have mentioned healing and trauma and emotions, and they do advertise that in the trailer as well. Everybody has a past, and based on what we've heard and what I'll continue to go over, it does seem like a good part of this film does go over how you can escape from your past, or essentially move on. You can't undo what you did, but you can move on and try to be better. Dio states, Thunderbolts is one of the best MCU films by a landslide, not just recently, but they say just best MCU films in general. Brilliant story.
Now, with them saying that, people are going to automatically go into it, comparing it to The Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Civil War, and even Endgame. When you're saying stuff like that, so okay, okay. You know me. I'm gonna walk in here and I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna tell you.
Character moments. This is made with love. It sets up for big things to come in the most exciting way I've seen since 2012. Bring your tissues, but...
I mean, like, this is big talk. From all of these channels here, this is big talk. I'm not saying I don't believe them, but it's one of those things where we've been beaten down as fans for so long now that we've come to expect them to be extremely mid to horrible. You got what I'm saying? So the last few trailers and clips have made me think it might be a passable film. It really has. And I'm hoping to God that I come in here and I'm like, you ain't going to believe this. This is why I want to come in. Y'all ain't going to believe this. This movie was fantastic. And if they continue course, they are on their way back. I want to come in here and do that.
Not because it's a sad movie. Now here's a pretty long and detailed one from my buddy Tristan. He says, Thunderbolts is fresh yet familiar in all the right ways. A Marvel movie that deals with the themes of depression, isolation, and grief, all accompanied by a fully realized century. Florence Pugh is stellar as usual, a scene stealer, and never fails to bring a captivating performance onto the screen. Amazing stunt work / choreography and production design with some great directed scenes from Jake Schreier, accompanied by stimulating DP work from Andrew Dross Palermo. Glad to see the technical craft on display from one of these movies that can very often have the visual flair of a State Farm commercial. And I'm not really sure how to interpret that, but he continues, Lewis Pullman is an incredible new addition with a multi-layered performance reflecting the woven themes of a movie that could have easily been paint by numbers. The entire cast plays well with each other, and it's definitely one of their best films in the last few years. The bar being a coherent first, second, and third act. Lastly, Sun Lux's score is effing fire, and I've read a lot of reviews, we're not going to go over all of them obviously, but a lot of them do mention that the score, the music, is really good. And at the time I'm making this video, I really did look for the negative ones, because I've seen just a ton of positive ones, so I wanted to see if anybody thought that it was negative. And out of all the things I've read, there really weren't any overall negative reactions or reviews. There were
None?
just a couple of negative comments. One coming from Grace Randolph, who said that she enjoyed it but thought it needed a little bit more action. And the other one, which isn't really negative, it just has one kind of negative line in it, and it's coming from Matt Neglia from Next Best Picture. He says, Thunderbolts is in many ways different from other MCU films that have come before it, and that freshness couldn't have arrived at a more opportune time when the franchise is in need of new blood and direction. It's some of Marvel's darkest material to date, dealing with the emotional wreckage of broken individuals grappling with their past choices and finding camaraderie amidst the emptiness of their lives. That is quite a sentence there. We knew this movie was going to be pretty dark. We've seen the trailers, we've seen what Sentry / the Void can do to the civilians, to anybody really, and we've seen some twisted scenes with Yelena Belova already as well. So it's good to know that they really do lean into that, but they also do lean into the camaraderie of it all, because after all, they are still a team, and Red Guardian is basically Yelena's father, so it sounds like we can expect some good moments there.
Let me tell you my first experience with seeing trailers and it really not telling me how good the movie really was. Just the first time I remember in my life. It was with Half Baked. Remember Half Baked? Dave Chappelle in there. If you've never seen Half Baked, watch it. It is one of the funniest movies. I'm telling you, trust me on this. But I remember at the time, the trailers that were out, I remember seeing Dave Chappelle even in an interview. He might have been on Letterman or something. He was like, he's saying if you've seen the trailers, I don't think the trailers really tell you what the movie's about. And he was right. Because once I eventually saw the movie, I was like, yo, those trailers should have been better and told me what this, if it had been cut different or something, I would have went to see this movie. I didn't see it until it came out on like HBO or something like that, or I rented it. I rented it on tape, I think, at that time. So, yeah, you know what I mean? So, since then, I had always had that in my head. When you watch a trailer, the movie could be really good or really bad based on, I've had several experiences over the years being fooled by trailers and being delighted by trailers for a movie.
That continues to state, this may be a team-up film, but it very much belongs to Florence Pugh, who carries much of the dramatic weight
Well, everybody said that it would be her movie.
The movie on her back, while Lewis Pullman delivers a complex performance as a sympathetic character at war with himself. So that's great. That tells us that the Sentry really is going to be struggling with the void, and it kind of sounds like mental health is going to play a part of this, which another reaction does mention, but we'll get to that. This finishes with, it may not be the flashiest, funniest, or strongest Marvel film, but its rough edges and imperfections somehow all feel fitting for this anti-hero team of misfits. Now, I will say, out of all of the reactions that I've seen, this is actually kind of the most negative that I've seen. That part at the end there, because it's not a negative review or reaction. He's just simply saying it's not perfect. It does have imperfections. So overall, the reviews and the reactions have been really, really good, and this is really key for Marvel Studios right now.
Yeah, it's key, all right. I just hope all these people are telling the truth, that's all. I just hope they're telling the truth, because usually people that get to see it early, they're the ones that get gift baskets and early tickets and free trips and food and early screenings of this, early screenings of that, and they get the mug and they get all that stuff. Yeah, so one of the good things is, I was actually offered, I still get offered free screenings to certain movies. Like I was offered one to Sinners, but I didn't feel like going to Philly to do it. I had planned it and already bought the tickets with me and Scarlo. So, I was just like, no. Philly's partially like driving in LA. If you know anything about driving in LA, yeah. It's a lesser LA. So it irritates me to go to Philly. But what was my point? I had a point. Oh, yeah. So I used to get them from Marvel all the time. I used to get them from Marvel all the time. Once the pandemic hit, it stopped. And then when they started again, I had said something to them like, are you still, you know what I mean? Because somebody else had told me that they started getting tickets. And they're like, oh, yeah, we really haven't ramped up with that over here in this area, this region. But we'll let you know when we do. Never let me know. Probably because I started not to like the majority of what they were putting out. Probably. You never know. But yeah, I used to get it from Marvel all the time. I would get free screenings from WB from time to time. Not all of them, but from time to time. Yeah, and then I would get Independence. People still offer me Independence and other movies to go to. But yeah. But the thing is, when they would offer, it wasn't like they had you by the nuts or they was kind of like dangling keys or something, anything shiny. They always, but were cool about it. They never made you feel like you had to give it a good review, which is what I liked. And that was everybody. You get what I'm saying? That offered.
Now, this matters a lot because there's absolutely no buildup for the Avengers and for Doctor Doom. Like, literally in the MCU right now, we do not have an established Avengers team. There's been no introduction to a new Avengers team whatsoever. Also, Doom has not even been mentioned. So Marvel has a lot of ground to make up for. And they're basically gonna have to hype the hell out of these upcoming movies. And they've done a great job of doing that with the Thunderbolts. But if it was a bad movie, then the hype would have really died down. And people would have really started to lose hope. And Fantastic Four might have suffered for that, which overall would make Avengers Doomsday suffer for that. And then on top of that, if the Fantastic Four film wasn't that good, then Avengers Doomsday would be screwed. So this was a right first step taken by Marvel Studios to really build up Doomsday. Now don't get me wrong, watch the Thunderbolts for what it is. That's what I'm doing, and I for one am just really excited for this movie. I think it might be one of my favorite Marvel movies ever. I hope so, at least. I hope every Marvel movie I watch, I can say that for. But overall, this is incredible news for the Fantastic...
You guys hear me say that all the time. I hope to God that everything that I watch is good. Like, I don't want it to be bad, but you just get that sinking feeling with certain trailers. And when you hear certain info coming out about these certain movies and what actors say and directors say, then you're like, here we go. And they know. It's like the fans have been right. The fans have been right this whole time. All their movies have been turned into garbage and they've been losing money. So it's not like we've been wrong.
For Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars and Marvel overall. I'm glad that the quality is there for this movie. But go.
All right, get on over to Cosmic Wonder. Subscribe. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. Hey, Disney, Marvel, WB, all you guys got to start listening to your paying customers. The people that made you who you are today. Yeah, that makes sense, correct? All right. 10 million subscribers. Woo!